I am here with two of the stars of School of Rock, the musical that's going to open in November at
the Capitol.
At the Capitol Theatre, Sydney. I'm here with AMY LEHPAMER and Brent Hill. Hello.
Hello.
It was the hit movie that starred Jack Black. Now it's an award-winning musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber. School of Rock is the story of Dewey Finn, a wannabe rock star who pretends to be a substitute teacher at a prestigious school. There he turns the classically trained students into rock gods. It's a musical and a rock concert all in one, and it's a smash hit. Well, the weather's going to be hot, and so is the stage.
Yeah.
School of Rock!
Yeah.
Wow. How amazing is that? Have School of Rock, the actual musical that took 7 years to come to fruition, if I'm correct.
Yes, I think there was a lot of back and forthing between, for getting the rights and all that sort of stuff, but the Lord, Andrew Lloyd Webber, he's a Lord?
Yes.
Yeah.
He secured the rights and worked up the show that we now get to do, and it's a really good one.
Yeah.
It keeps all the things that you really love about the film, but with a really snappy new book by Julian Fellows, who is best known for Downton Abbey, but has...
You're doing really well at this. This
Am
is
I?
good, yeah. This is good, great.
You've done this before.
Thank you. And so the book is very snappy.
It is.
And Andrew Lloyd Webber's songs are terrific, and it also keeps other songs from the film that you might know and love as well. So there's a good combination. It's a good, fusion of taking the best bits of the film, but then making it that live theatre dynamic and made by people who really know and understand theatre.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite a different kind of music to what everyone knows Andrew Lloyd Webber has done in the past.
Yeah.
We all forget that he wrote that musical called Jesus Christ Superstar, which was the, OG rock musical. And it's kind of going back to those roots. And also, for lovers of cats, there are definitely some synth patches on the keyboard that take you straight to the Jellicle Ball, which I really appreciate. Because it's really nice you locate yourself and you're like, oh, yep, I'm in an Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. Don't do the cat's hands.
Yeah.
Amy.
And sometimes, you should do the cat's hands.
I do it backstage.
I can do backstage.
Rosalie, not so much allowed to do the cat's hands. You could do them.
I tried to, actually. I tried to subtly put it in there.
Really?
Yeah, as a bit of an Easter egg for Andrew Lloyd Webber fans.
Yeah.
Try to put a bit of half face at one point and
Phantom.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did want to do Where Did the Rock Go in a turban, a la Norma Desmond. And maybe still will.
You should absolutely do that.
Yeah. Also,
Specifically for the Sydney season.
yeah, I think so. That could really do.
This is a selling point.
I think so.
Yeah.
Rosalie Mullins plus turban equals, Rosalie Norma Desmond. It's how it is. Wow, that's a really exciting thing to think about. I'm just going to think about that for a little while you talk.
Damn straight. I'll say things now, and the things that I'll say is, what was the question? What were we talking about? No, the musical. So,
Andrew Lloyd Webber, rock.
yeah, well, that's it. Because people do forget that he wrote Jesus Christ Superstar, and Jesus Christ Superstar was is freaking awesome. Especially with all of those. It's got all that drive and guts. It really does, and it's nice that he's returning to form. I think with School of Rock to his rock roots.
Well, I have to say also too, you're very well cast, not only because of the career that you both have, but you play the violin, Amy, and Brent, you used to play the violin, now you play drums, but you also not only play those instruments, but others.
Yeah.
Yourself.
I think we have an affinity with the kids in the show in that way, Brent and I, that actually a lot of us in the cast do. There's a lot of musos in the adult cast, and we see the kids and we kind of see them as kindred spirits because we were those kids going to music lessons, practicing, loving orchestras or bands and things like that, and we kind of know the kinship that you get when you meet other kids in that tribe, and that's what the kids in our show have all developed.
We've seen it with those kids.
We see it, we see it develop, and I remember that feeling, and that's kind of why I do this for a job, because I started working out what that was like, and I was like, I don't want to leave this group of people. This is it, and it's a cool thing that there is this kind of the mini-me's running around. And so, for instance, we've got Sam Zhang. There'll be a different cast of kids in Sydney, but at the moment, you know, Sam Zhang, she's our Katie, she plays bass, she plays violin, she could play a bit of, you know, cello, and then they gave her the bass, you know, so she had a bit of skill and then could learn an instrument off the cuff because she's just clever and her mind is plastic.
And a few of the kids have done that, especially when we went to China, because they had to cover a few more roles, because we started with 36 in Melbourne, and then for touring we went down to 17. We were like, get rid of those kids, knock them out, don't need them. But they did. They picked up these other instruments, and, you know, we had, it was like one of the, who was it?
Billy Hudson?
Yes, Billy picked up the, Hudson picked up the drums.
And he's like an amazing tapper, so he had like a really great sense of rhythm. But then, you know, put sticks in his hand and now he can play the drums. And he went on and he was perfect. And, that was the coolest thing about doing the China season, is that these kids were covering understudy, you know, sometimes at interval changing, cast change, and they were cool as cucumbers and nailed it every time and really handled it amazingly well. And it was a real highlight for us all to kind of cheer them on and have that, because they all had each other's backs, they all look each other in the eye. I think that is a really testament to what Brent has shown them as well, that they've kind of got this real sense of teamwork. And
it's just so strange, because I taught them, I was like, try to be the best, push other people out of the way, you know, prove that you're better than someone else, like at every opportunity.
Well, you know, that's why we do those races at the back.
That's right. So that's a testament to their own, you know, their morality and drive and ethics.
So you've got some sort of initiation process for all the kids involved?
I don't think we're allowed to talk about that.
No, it is a G-rated show. But I found
tar, feathers.
But I did find out there's 4 sets of kids. Is that right?
Yes.
Wow.
So we had 4 sets in Melbourne, and we will again for the rest of the Australian tour. China didn't require us to have as many children, and that's not a China thing. Broadway only has that many kids as well. So we were copying from the Broadway model of things for the China tour. And but in essence, it's actually 3 sets. 3 sets of children.
But we think of it as 4.
Because of the adult cast.
Adult cast, yeah.
There are 4 sets of children on stage at any one time.
Wow. Amy, you play the character of Rosalie Mullins. All of my teachers really didn't want to know my name. So how do you actually get to know all of the kids' names in every show that you do in a different city?
It's not hard. You get their faces on a page and you learn it, and then you get to work and they're all really excited because you've learned their names in advance. And I learned that on Sound of Music, and it's a really cool thing because they're nervous, and if you can kind of just take that little bit of effort before you get to work and make them know that they're known, it's awesome. And also, you know, they become part of the team. You learn them very quickly. They are much more important than I am in the show. So, you know, I'm a good team player and I understand my position. And I'm going to learn my boss's name, you know?
I'm so fortunate and have so much gratitude that Amy was involved in this show, especially coming into it, because, you know, like meeting all these 36 kids is really daunting, and learning all their names, and very fortunate because, you know, Amy's done Sound of Music before.
Yes.
So I was like, Amy, what do I do? Help!
You speak very slowly and don't make any sudden movements, and they sort of start to trust you.
Like raptors, from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Because you both have worked together in 3 shows?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
3 shows,
Started out in Rock of Ages, and then we did Once, and now we're in School of Rock. So we're always going to be doing something that involves instruments.
Probably, most likely.
And, which is, I mean, I'm fine with that. But yeah, it's very fun. We obviously like each other.
And your name was Amy?
Yeah.
Brent, you actually studied with Philip Glaire in Paris.
I did.
Yeah, with clowning.
Yes.
Do you use any of that on stage?
Never.
No?
No, never.
Miming, no mimicking?
No. Everything I've learnt off stage, I keep it off stage. And on stage is purely for no thought. Yes, of course. Look, you know, like it's just essentially clowning. The biggest, I went there and you kind of learn philosophies of performing, and the the greatest teacher I've ever had, and he's just and the reason for that is because he doesn't try to teach you the lesson. He just leads you to the water, and you make the mistake, and he doesn't tell you why you were wrong. You have to learn it and figure it out yourself. And because you do that, you actually go through the process of actually learning, why what you did didn't work or whatever. But he has these amazing philosophies, which is, be good, be bad, just don't be boring. And life is meaningless, so it has the meaning that you attribute to it. And it's about joy. Follow your joy, what makes you happy. And that's to say, you can still obviously do Hamlet and come to Hamlet and cry and have this amazing, tear your heart out every night, but just make sure that you leave it on stage.
Because Dewey is such a different character, and the relationship obviously with Rosalie on stage, I would assume that the dynamic also would have to be used there.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dewey's an upstart, and he's got so much energy, and he's very passionate about music, and he kind of has so much passion about it, he doesn't quite know how to control that. And so when he kind of comes up against Rosalie, I think Rosalie is used to keeping people in line and that kind of energy in line, and as she's probably been with herself, I'm assuming this is your character research, as she's been with herself probably, and that's what's a lovely thing, is that these two characters who are kind of polar opposites then actually start to complement each other, which I think is really lovely.
There's so much inspiration in the show. It's about kids finding their voice, finding themselves.
Yeah, and it's not just the kids, but it's it's about everyone doing that. Like Rosalie does that, and absolutely. But it's easier obviously for the kids, because that's where they're in a classroom setting. But yeah, it's really lovely to see. And we get people after the show. I mean, I certainly had people coming up in Melbourne being like, "Thank you. This is really great. My kids are now going to start playing music again." They had stopped for whatever reason.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amy, how did you address the character of Rosalie compared to all the other characters that you've done on stage?
That's a very good question. I always kind of start with the basics. She's a teacher, she's an educator first. It's that thing, you don't become a principal overnight. You always have to go through becoming a teacher and going through that process. And so I kind of tried to think of that a little bit. I didn't want her to be this sort of cold authority figure necessarily. I assumed that she became a teacher because she liked being an educator, and that she teaches music in the show because she likes music, and that perhaps it's a lot of external pressure that has created the kind of tense human that we meet at the show, rather than that being her essence. So sort of worked that way, kind of tried to imagine how she got to the point that she gets to when you meet her at the beginning. I think it's kind of quite an easy path. She's a single lady, she's career orientated, and she's had great results by being committed and a disciplinarian, and so she hasn't felt the need to look elsewhere and felt the need to change that up because the system's kind of worked, and she hasn't had been challenged by it, and she keeps getting rewarded. The school's doing well, the kids do well, and so when someone like Ned Schneebly or Dewey enters the school, she's kind of got no reason or reference to assume that he's going to be anything except another person that's going to fall in line. So it's kind of building, for me, it's a great character because she just sort of, you've got to just build in the little hints and build in this space that she kind of keeps starting to occupy, because as he occupies more space, she has to kind of occupy more space to try and control him. And inevitably, the little explosion happens, I guess, and she finds that she's lost a bit of her essence. But it's nice, it's always nice, I think, with a character like that to find the humanity in it. It's what I kind of try and do in everything we all try and do in our work, because they can seem, principal authority figure can seem a little bit dry and a little bit boring, and I was like, that's not why I'm here. And so that's how I've kind of tried to colour in a little bit.
And how did you go in getting your role?
I paid a lot of money to the casting director. Please put me. Look, I went along to an audition, and just like everyone else, and did a few rounds, and got the role. I mean, I immediately I cut the tension out of the audition room because I knew that I think a few people were like, hey, this show's coming here, you should check this out. Have you got it? Have you booked it yet? People assume that I would be doing the show. So I think there's a bit of expectation on me going into the audition room, certainly from the panel, and I felt that. And I walked in with a guitar, go to play a song, and Chris Key, our loveliest director, was just like, so you've obviously brought a guitar, so why don't you just start playing? So, okay, I'll just go. Okay. Pain, kink, pain, kink,
For those that don't have visual for this, Brent is currently playing guitar badly.
And then finished, and I looked up, and it was great because I remember looking at one point, and Rochelle Brookman, one of our lovely producers, she was just like giving me a nod of encouragement, like, you can do it, you got it, don't worry, you got it. Bless her. And then I finished and looked up and went, thank you. That song was called Lower Your Expectations. And immediately all tension within the room just left. And it was, from then on, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. Because, the audition process is always a weird thing. We're just like, let's just try to have fun with doing this. And ultimately, that's what Dewey's about. Dewey is a big kid. He has to be. He has to be the leader of the kids. So that was kind of perfect, and I love fun. Fun is a good thing to have, right? Right? We're in agreement here, right? Yeah. So I don't know. That's sometimes. No. Actually, yeah. I know. I should be harder on myself. I should.
No, but the idea that obviously music helps bring someone out of themselves. You've just described how you found character with Rosalie. Obviously, that's how you address the audition. Music is effervescence. It's something that takes you to every parameter that you could possibly think of.
Well, we had I had a moment during once, which was in the first week of rehearsals, when we were all sitting around in a band. We would rehearse as a band for several hours a day, and it was at the end of the first week of rehearsal when we were learning 50 songs or something ridiculous, and it was really stressful. And there was a point where Martin Lowe, our music director, was just like, look guys, here's a gift, listen up, here's a gift. And he gave us EXO by Beyonce, and we were playing this song, and then he reminded us, he's like, you know what, and just play whatever, but look up. And we all, and it was that for me, I don't know
Get
about
out
you.
of your bedrooms!
Get out of your bedroom!
Get out of your
bedrooms! Yeah, absolutely. And it was that moment, the end of the first...
It's the best note. It's one of the best notes. Because, and it is funny, all of us that were in once, when sometimes you see shows, and how is that they didn't get out of their bedroom? And because it's something you see a lot in performers where, unfortunately, because it's hard, it's really hard.
Really hard.
We all want to be perfect and we all want to get it all right, but we sometimes forget that the connection is the important part, and whether it is with the other people on stage that you're listening to or with the audience, that is the important part. Otherwise you'd put the cast recording on and close your blinds, and that's all the experience would be. There are people that are paying, there are people that have trained, that is the essence of what we're doing in the building, and you cannot achieve anything if you're playing in your bedroom. And it's a really cool thing, and I think it's a good thing to be reminded of as performers, and something that I think, as a company, without actually kind of giving them a speech at the start, I think it's something that Brent, tries to, in example, lead with everybody, and everyone kind of takes on board. And I certainly, love that about working with Brent, that it's always a really live space. There's always it feels like there's a lot of space on stage because it's an active space, and it's there's a lot of trust and a lot of play, always to serve the story, but it is that we're looking up and taking it all in, and it's exciting. It makes it really fun.
Yeah, and likewise, it is. Being present is that's joy. And every show that I had this realization in China, where I had a few shows where I was like, I'm not enjoying this. This is what's going on, and realized it's because I was taken away from here and was worried too much about the audience's experience, and trying to get reactions out of them, and that's when I was like, I'm not enjoying this, and bringing it back to being on stage was much more enjoyable.
Okay, let's do this. Hands in. Rock on 3. 1, 2, 3. Rock!
Both of you, your careers have lasted for a long, long time. I've seen you both in so many different shows.
55 years.
Well, I wasn't going to count them.
Yeah.
55 years.
It's been long.
Yeah. You look great.
Thank you.
But with this tour with School of Rock, was it Melbourne and then you went to China?
Yes. And then we go to Brisbane, and then we do Auckland, and then we're doing Sydney.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you done a tour like that before?
No, not that big. I think this will be the biggest one I've ever done. Sound of Music was a national tour, but I've not done the plus. No, I haven't needed my passport yet.
Really?
In a musical. So that's exciting.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Travelling theatre performer.
Where did you go for Sound of Music?
We did Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, Adelaide and Perth.
Oh, all the big hits.
The big hits. The hills were alive in, I did a photo on a hill with children in every single one of those cities.
Did you? They found
Sure
a
did.
hill.
There was a hill in every one.
Amazing.
And it got to the point where I was never cynical about it because I always loved it, but I always kind of knew how to get the shot, and the photographer would be like, oh, you've done this before. I was like, yes, because the hills, they are alive, you see, and every photographer figures out that this is a good brief to give. But it was great, and so it's kind of lovely. I have these quite joyous shots with a set of kids in every city on a hill. And
can I just say, as a disclaimer, for any photographers listening, just have fun is not a great direction for a photo. So like anything else, be an elephant, jump a hoop. Just have fun is like the most vague thing.
And we've all been burnt by the. And can you do one with your arms out?
And now just a funny one. Now just do a funny one, and that's the one that will get used.
Yeah, there's funny, and then there's.
It's deeply embarrassing.
Yeah.
Deeply.
So I was going to ask you that you tour. Is your dressing room, what you put in your dressing room, different to in every state and now every country?
That's interesting.
Look, I've gone quite Spartan with my dressing rooms these days. I think I've brought back the little humidifier atomizer. I've packed that. I didn't have that in China.
Did you feel the difference?
No. I have my makeup. I don't even have photos.
No.
I don't know.
No.
I think I'm getting better at bringing a book, and I'm actually spending more time just wandering the corridors and annoying people when I'm not on stage, and that is underrated.
Yeah.
I think because I'm busy in this show, but not as busy as Brent. And I think in other shows I've been as busy, almost as busy as Brent. So. You don't get the time. No. So the dressing room is literally just the bit where you put your kettle on and have a cup of tea. And now I'm like, are there humans? Are there people to prod and play with? And it's great. Company management have chocolate most of the time. So I'm really exploring the full backstage dynamic, and it is wonderful.
Yeah.
I really see why people love this profession.
I don't understand why. I've seen photos, on Instagram, you see people shots of their dressing room setup, and it'll be towel, square, super neat.
It's amazing.
Makeup, little things like this.
You have to do.
Photos immaculately designed. I don't.
Okay, so
get it.
Okay, you're the least tidy person I've met, and
mine's
I'm and
a dressing room threw up on itself.
Yeah, it's what a set. Yeah, yes, it's what the set designer. So if you look at Dewey Finn's bedroom in School of Rock, it's like that, but in
the actual set on stage.
Yes,
is
and then is Brent's dressing room.
Yeah,
perfectly cast.
It's great. And then Except we've got someone that's actually paid to hang your clothes up for you in the show,
Thank
which
God.
is really lovely.
Yeah. Added
Pieces,
bonus.
big ups to Brent's dresses.
Yeah,
and all dresses, really, they're great. But yeah, I'm the same. It's a real achievement. Like, I think if I ever have a neat table, I take a photo of it and put it on Instagram, because I'm like, I remember having this wonderful exchange with Anna O'Byrne, because she is one of those people. She is a delightful, organised, beautiful spring blossom at all times. And her dressing room on My Fair Lady was gorgeous. And I remember it wasn't a photo of it. It was just her beautifully presented in her Eliza stuff. And I could see her desk, and it was stunning. And there was fresh flowers and all this kind of stuff, and she put a photo of that on the internet, and I sent her just a private message. I just looked at my desk and sent it to her, and I think she wrote back, she's like, I just broke out in hives. Because I was like, well, and that's why, you're Eliza and you sing I Could Have Danced All Night, and I'm Maria, because I'm like, she can't change shapes to me and that. So that is why we are the Julie Andrews split, and I'm the Mr. Hyde part of that equation, I think, and it's nice.
Maybe
it's
I
nice
should do Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde
as Julie Andrews, and we each do a bit.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a really good pitch. I'll tell her about that.
Yeah, that's a good two-hander.
Imagine, no one wants that, but everyone wants
Except
it.
everybody. Yeah.
Gosh, okay, it's good. See, creativity, it's everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere we look.
It's time.
You've been in a lot of shows. Something I really want to know is, do you buy any of your merchandise and keep it as souvenirs?
Yeah. Never wear it or do anything with it.
No. Back in Perth, I found a sweater of Rock of Ages Australia. I wore it for about 5 seconds. This feels weird.
Yeah, most useful thing I bought was on Beautiful. I got a tea towel that says you've got to get up every morning with a smile on your face to show the world all the love in you.
That bit's got a stain on it now. It's been used.
I think it stopped at smile on your face, actually. But yeah, I've got that tea towel. That was good. That was good merch. Well done, Michael Castle. I like that merch. And mugs. I quite like. I got a Sound of Music mug, and I use that.
That's cool.
But I also, some of my favourite gifts from people have also been mugs from shows, because they have in-jokes on them, and I like that.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, you're like, what's that? Ah, that's right. Good.
I mean, what do we have? We've got drumsticks.
We've got a ukulele.
Really?
That's often we all got a ukulele for opening nights. We all annoyed each other with that for a good while. And picks. We got picks as well.
Oh yeah.
There's a cool School of Rock shirt, which reminds me of the shirt in Rock of Ages. The Hooray for Boobies shirt.
Oh yeah.
Which is it's like a baseball top where it's like white and red sleeves. I like that. I think that's cool. I'd wear that.
We buy the merch. The weird thing that sometimes happens, it hasn't happened to me on this show, because Rosalie, you would see why when you saw the show. Costumes are not exactly she's a principal. They're not exactly exciting, but I sometimes end up dressing like my character.
You morph.
That has happened to me. So especially if it's era specific, I'll start kind of tailoring my things. It got a bit ugly on Sound of Music, and I remember being in an op shop change room wearing this brown woolen dress and sending a photo to my friend Steph, who was playing Liesl, and going, I can't get this. And she said, no, it's your Act 1 dress where he says, do you have anything else? And I was like, okay, this is getting a bit much. But I do that. I do dress in costume a lot accidentally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I think I've always done that since I was a kid. So.
Yeah, I think there's a thing for that. This is kind of like, not character-bly, but it's where you're living in that kind of world, in the universe.
And it's all your references are in that space, so that's kind of what you start to see and gravitate to. For instance, I've just been watching a lot of Scandi Noir and somehow ended up with this leather trench coat that I bought, and I was like, why did I buy this? Because I want to be in the bridge. That's why. I wish I was Scandinavian. So I think, I'm obviously very susceptible to the world.
Did you play dress up a lot as a kid?
All the time.
Yeah, okay.
All the time.
Yeah.
And made other people, like my cousins, I'd dress them. Like, this is what you'll be wearing and this is what you'll be wearing. and you have no say in this. It was a very big deal.
Wow.
I was a dictator even then.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad it didn't happen for me during Little Shop of Horrors. During that show, the first act was all grayscale, and I wore denim and Hessian. Is that right? Hessian. It was scratchy and not very comfortable. So I'm glad that didn't happen during that show.
Yeah.
But I think that's right. I think you do kind of start to do it. And very fortunately for me, I think Dewey is actually kind of similar to my sort of
Yeah.
general vibe.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So we're about to nearly round up, and I have to say congratulations, Brent Hill. You've just been nominated for your first Helpman Award. Is that right? First?
No, fifth. But hopefully winning the first. Just nominated for the fifth time, and so my expectations are low, and it's great. It's super great. I'm proud of the show and proud of the work that we do, and I'm just trying to catch up to Amy, really, because Amy won last year. And she teases me about it all the time.
She brings it in.
She does. She
Puts it in a dressing room.
She does warm-ups with it before the show. And I'm like, why do you bring this? And she's like, you know why.
Yeah, I'm like that.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Amy, you've been nominated 4 times. You've won once for Beautiful last year.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish if I can impart anything to Brent is I had no expectations of winning last year, and I still forget that I did. Like it was not that it was an incredibly lovely thing, but I really didn't expect it, and you could tell when I got up and spoke. So I'm just going to tell Brent to maybe think about a few things to say before he gets up, because I'm pretty sure the first things I said was, yeah, cool. So I have an English literature degree, and no one knew that. It's like I didn't swear. Might have. I don't think I did.
I feel like I'm going to say something about Tiana Mura.
Oh, because she's already won one.
If I win, because she won one for Matilda.
She beat me.
She beat you. Did she really beat you? Oh, yeah. Tiana Mura, who plays Katie in the show.
Oh, she's in the show.
She's 12-year-old Katie, plays the bass.
Great.
Yeah, she also brings her Helpman in to everyone.
Yeah.
And actually, I do have to say, so. I'll probably end up saying this a lot, and as I should. Yes, I've been nominated for this Helpman, but Dewey, this role is a lot, and I share the role. I have the kind of the lion's share of it. I do have the lion's share of it, but Joe Koski is a Dewey alternate, and he does 3 shows a week, and I couldn't do it without him. So I will owe a part of it to him and to the rest of the company. It's like anything. It's like when people win an award and they're like, I did this. Maybe I'll say this. I did this all by myself. Just me, no one else.
It is. It's a tricky one, because it does. You can't do it. You're not winning it for the one-man show that you did.
No.
But
exactly.
When it is when people do watch you in the thing, they've decided to single out your performance, and that's a cool thing too.
She's in my PR.
Yeah.
Minister
for Brent Hill.
Minister for Brent.
Well, you've both been nominated,
No
like I
further
said.
questions at this time. Yes. We're going to wrap up.
It was absolutely lovely to speak to you both. Congratulations on all of your nominations. Yourself for everything. Green Room, Sydney Theatre Awards, now Helpman Awards. Very well cast. Myself and I'm sure everybody else in Sydney are dying to come and see the show in November. AMY LEHPAMER playing Rosalie Mullins and Brent Hill playing Dewey Finn.
Yeah.
For School
I'm a
of
shark
Rock.
in the show.
You are.
Twist.
Twist.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
you.
We can't wait to see the show.
Thank you. Bye.
On stage now.
We pretended it wasn't there the whole time.
I know we did. We did really well.
I did a few side eyes.
Did you? I wish I did that.
Nice to be in orbit.